Okay, now we're going to talk about assembly and testing before final assembly. All of the F-15 adapters are provided with a double-sided tape in here. You should only pull that tape and assemble it permanently once you have everything else tuned and functioning properly. Here is a late model follower that I just machined. I want you to note I machined the entire little round feature off of it and cut it flush with the bottom. Then I put a slight radius on all these edges working inward. Do not be tempted to cut a radius in the back of the magazine right here where the follower may catch on it, as that will just allow space for a spring coil to pop into that hole and cause problems. On this particular follower, there's a couple things you should pay attention to. First of all, these sides are not parallel on the follower. When you cut this back edge, you want to make it parallel to the back side of the follower, and when you set up to cut this front edge, you want it parallel to the original surface. If you put it in, if you put a machine down on the front surface, which is actually 40 or 50 thousandths shallow than the rear, you will cut through this back feature here in the front of the magazine or the follower, and you'll mess up the follower. So when you cut this surface, make sure it is parallel to the surface as it was originally. Set it up in your machine with a level on it or a square to a tool, or if you're doing it by hand, just do it on a sheet of paper the way I showed you earlier, or with a file, but make sure you cut this parallel to the original surface. On this particular magazine, I took 45 thousandths off of this, which seems to be enough. Now I'm going to show you the quick and easy way to check all these things. Take your S12 magazine base, snap it into 1/2 of your adapter, and put a little tiny C-clamp on it. Let's see this one. Don't crush the magazine with the clamp, you're just holding it together. Then take your magazine spring, allow about 1/3 of the spring to stick out of the bottom of the magazine, then put a base plate on there just to capture it. Then you can take your follower inside of your magazine that's already prepped, and you can push these two pieces together. Put another little clamp on here. Now you can see what's going on in the magazine. So what we're going to do is we're going to load this, start loading this until we get the follower down to the transition point. Okay, here's the transition where the follower is going to go from the MKA magazine into the S12. This is the place where these little angles that you cut on the back of the follower are going to come into play to allow that transition to move freely through here. As you can see, this one, you can feel the transition, you always will, but it will clearly go through, and you can continue to load this, and the shells will pass through everything freely. So this is an indication that everything is good. So we'll put this together and then we'll check it out. Okay, good. Stop.